This is the Morning Swim Show for Thursday, February 16th, 2012. I'm your host, Peter Bush. In the Phoenix Monitor today, we'll talk to Scott Lemley. He's the head coach at the University of Alaska's women's swim team. They are getting ready for the Division II National Championships coming up next month. Coach Lemley joins us right now in the Phoenix Monitor from Fairbanks, Alaska. Coach, welcome to the Morning Swim Show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I think this might be our first Morning Swim Show via Alaska. It's great to have you.
Well, I'm happy to have the opportunity to talk about our program.
Well, it sounds like you guys are having one of the best years so far. You've got a relay already with an automatic qualifying cut for the D2 National Championships, your 800 free relay. In fact, according to our research, they're second in the country right now.
It looks pretty strong.
So what do you attribute that to? Just good old-fashioned, building the program and it's finally coming around?
That's a big part of it. This is our 7th year, and in a sense, the planets are starting to align. We've got good support from the administration. We've got a little more notoriety each year with the success we've had. But really, it kind of starts with the recruiting. And any coach will tell you that recruiting is the lifeblood of the college coaches, and it was a real good recruiting year. We've got 12 freshmen that came in, and of the 5 girls qualified so far, 4 freshmen and 1 is a sophomore. So it's a very young, enthusiastic team.
Is it difficult to recruit kids to Alaska?
As you might imagine, it is. We have to pick the right time to bring them up. If you bring them up in January and it's 35 below, unless they're a winter sports person, that's probably not the right time to bring them up. So we try to bring girls up on their official visits in October when there's still a lot of light and you can actually see grass.
Well, tell us about the university itself. I mean, again, it's not one that we talk about very often.
I came up here to swim back in 1970, and I liked it so much that I've stayed for the better part of the last 42 years. It's a small campus. It's very friendly. It's a very good school academically. So that combination and the support we get from the athletic department is exactly what I was looking for. And we really try to find young women with a sense of adventure that really put schools and are good athletes. And that's who we've ended up with.
The program, has it only been around for 7 years, or have you been the coach for 7 years?
Well, I swam up here when it was an NAI program in the early 70s. We had a men's team back in the mid-80s, and I was the head coach of the men's team. And then it went by the wayside, just budget cuts and things like that. So when they started this new program, it was more or less a Title IX program. They asked me if I would build it from the ground up because that's what I did with the men's team 20 years ago. So I have been the only head coach of this new women's team now in its 7th year, and I was the only head coach of the men's team back in the 80s.
I guess it's similar to Hawaii, for example. It's not as easy to fly just an hour and catch a dual meet. How many dual meets do you swim, and where do you go?
Well, it's actually less expensive for us to pay teams to come up and swim against us. So it takes a day to get out, a day to get back, and then a day to swim a meet. I'll contact coaches that I know, and we'll bring teams up. We'll give them guarantees for their flight. We'll put them up in comped hotel rooms. All they have to do is come up with the money for ground transportation and food, which is what they would do anyway. So the majority of our dual meets are done here in Fairbanks, and then to get our money's worth, we'll swim a Friday evening meet and then a Saturday noon meet. So we sleep in our own beds. We don't miss class. The teams that come up and swim against us find it's pretty exotic. They use it as a recruiting tool when they know that we're on the schedule for them next year. So it works great for us just to go outside for conference and then for a big invitational at the end of the fall semester.
What kind of facilities do you have?
It's an older pool. It's a 6-lane pool, no diving well. It's a fast pool. We keep the water cold. It's a really great training pool. It's not super impressive when you see it for the first time, but I trained here 40 years ago. Every team and every swimmer that's ever swum in this pool knows it's a great facility, but it's not an indoor 50-meter pool. It makes it a little challenging to recruit in terms of the facility, but else about the program in terms of the school itself and the town really lend itself to bringing athletes up and impressing them.
But it is indoors.
It is. There are no outdoor pools in Alaska.
No retractable roof on it so that, for a couple months you can see the blue sky.
No big white bubble over an outdoor pool, no.
You can watch the aurora borealis while you're doing backstroke.
That is one of the, it's like the 8th wonder of the world, and a lot of the girls that we bring up here, they find that's one of the attractions, the hiking. We do a raft trip on some pretty wild rivers in the fall. But you do have to have that sense of adventure. And then once you're up here, you do get you see the moose walking across campus, and you see the northern lights at night. It's pretty spectacular.
You can't beat the natural beauty, that's for sure.
Yep.
What kind of program would you describe yours as? I mean, is it a high volume? Do you do a lot of technical stuff? What kind of coach are you?
Well, it's a very simple formula. Over the years, I found that if swimmers can learn to stay focused mentally and stay relaxed physically, then good things happen. So we don't do garbage yards. We do very focused swimming. Every single set has a single focus so that the girls know what they're working on, and it's all about fundamentals. Learning how to streamline off the walls, learning how to lunge at the finish, staying relaxed and finding that flow when they swim. So we don't do anything real tricky. We just really focus on the fundamentals.
All right, so tell us about some of the girls that we'll see at the D2 Championships.
Well, the program kind of right now is based on a girl that we recruited last year. She would be a true freshman this year, but she came to our program in January last year. Benti Heller, she's a German girl from Hamburg. She's highly ranked in the 50, 100, and 200 freestyles. She's a big part of our relays, our freestyle relays. She is our anchor. Then the rest of the girls are freshmen. We have a freshman from Canada who's highly ranked in both IMs and the 200 free. We have a freshman from Anchorage, a girl who I've watched swim all through high school. She's, I think, ranked 3rd right now nationally in the 100 fly. And then we have a girl from Wyoming who's kind of our freestyler, 200 free, 500 free, 400 IM, and then a breaststroker from Fresno. We don't usually recruit from Southern California just because it's not an easy sell when what they're used to is white sand and not white snow on the ground. And she's our breaststroker. So 4 freshmen and a sophomore. That's the kind of the core of our team right now. And since they're so young, and this will be the first time any of them have been to nationals, it's more of an exploratory trip this year. We're just going to go and have fun and see what happens.
Well, Coach, glad to hear that things are moving in the right direction for your program.
I appreciate that.
And good luck at the championships, and congratulations.
Thanks very much.
All right, that's Coach Scott Lemley joining us from the University of Alaska. And that is it for today's show. I'm Peter Bush, reminding you to keep your head down at the finish.